Well, 2020 was neither a year we anticipated nor we would ever ask for again. It challenged us all on a global scale and pushed the majority of the population to their limits. There are many other defining eras that were very scary and unprecedented, but few have touched the majority of the world the way this pandemic did. This time period has certainly been a major turning point in this generation and history in general. Even though it felt like at times that so many doors were being shut and that some things felt impossible, 2020 and now 2021 have given us a new perspective to look at things and have offered new options. I'm not a person to just sit around and binge shows 24/7 and do nothing. Despite all my plans for the year going down the drain, I took this as an opportunity to care for other projects and passions. I committed a lot of time to home renovations and outdoor work. I wasn't the only one. There was a lot of people at Home Depot and Lowe's, and there was a reason why those stores were considered essential. Besides that, I did freelance editing to make some extra cash, co-wrote with friends, produced St. Rose Rocks, shot music videos, practiced singing, guitar, and piano, released an album, and eventually kickstarted this podcast. By no means was this the year I planned on. But because of all my plans falling through originally, it gave me the chance to do many things that I would never have had the chance to otherwise. Now, I'm not saying everyone should do a million things as the world still resets. By no means. The pandemic has been tough on all of us, and we need to give ourselves the time to regroup, catch up, and find ourselves again. I am simply a project-oriented person. What I'm saying, though, is that this time period has taught us that a lot of what we were doing prior was either not working, needed to be slowed down, and be reevaluated. And just like I took this time to do things I would have never done otherwise, I know many others did too. A lot of people made bread. Don't know where that trend started, but I love it nonetheless. I saw a lot of people at Home Depot stocking up on their home DIY projects. Many people worked on their online businesses. Some embraced a new skill or talent. Regardless of what it was, this was a time period that taught us there's no time better than now. We put off so much because of quote-unquote responsibilities we needed to attend to. But we often forget to fully live our lives and enjoy our passions. Not just things that we wanted to do, but people that we wanted to be around. Sure, we weren't able to be physically close to people that we loved and cared for, but this was a time period that made us reevaluate the time that we were spending where and who with. As a former guest on the show said, Emily Mitchell, it shouldn't take a pandemic for you to talk to your friends. And just being able to come to this time and be able to talk to people who inspire you and make you feel good and just keep you rejuvenated, that's so important. And why is that so overlooked? So I hope with this time period, you didn't just reconnect with the things you love, but also with the people that you love, and you found rejuvenation that way. Though many things are turning around and many things are still in limbo, I challenge you to embrace the now and focus on you. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Walsh Wednesday, the Reflective Series. Today's guest is my friend, Joyce Hills. Joyce is a filmmaker, content creator, and actress, and she greatly shares the same sentiment of honing the now. I'll let her get into that right after this. I want to say thank you to all the listeners out there. Whether you're listening to this podcast, to my album Away From Home and other releases, and simply just following along with whatever I have to offer. I mentioned this before, but this podcast is kind of like my therapy. I get to talk about subjects that mean a lot to me, and I get to share the stories of incredible people. Any and every little bit of support has been appreciated, and I love the little community that we've carved out for ourselves. Obviously, there are so many ways to support, but I suggest checking out my Patreon page and perhaps purchasing my album on Bandcamp or downloading it wherever you choose to listen to your music. And of course, word of mouth. All of y'all being helpers and telling others what we have going on here means a lot. And hey, if there's anything or anyone you might want to hear on this podcast, let me know. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. After a year like 2020, I have no idea what 2021 has in store, but I look forward to tackling it all with you. Again, this week's guest is Joyce Hills. Now, Joyce and I have had the pleasure of working on a number of creative projects together, and I was strolling down memory lane and I realized this. One thing that I just realized the other day, around this time last year, we were finishing up shooting a little series. You were directing, you producing, you wrote, all that. Last Ditch back at St. Rose. We were finishing up filming that this time last year, and now here we are in this COVID-ridden world, and it's like, what the heck's happened since? I was just thinking, it's like, wow, I miss those days.
Yeah, how old are we now? That was a year ago. That's crazy. This time last year, we were prepping for Madison Theater for the screening. Let's see, what is it, December? I think we had the one more big shoot, and then we were going to be done. Wow. That's crazy. I don't know where the time has gone. I certainly miss it.
So Last Ditch. So that was something that, as I said, you wrote, you produced, you directed, you acted in it. Was that one of the first projects that you've had full creative control on, or was there anything before that? And what was that like, that process, getting that going?
Heck yeah. So we had another web series before that, which is also one of my favorites. I love them both. They were both my children, and I love them. They're very close to my heart. The first one was definitely probably more my speed because it was so satire. I tend to love dry humor a little bit more. Just it goes with my dry as toast personality. So I like the first web series quite a bit, but it was in many respects just a test run. It was a test run. We had no idea how to manage that much content, but we did okay. We did pretty good. So we did that, and then we did Last Ditch, and that was a lot easier, technically speaking, and the team was really, really good. All the crew was amazing. All my actors, I love them so much, and I can't wait to cast them in Hollywood projects down the road. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. Heck yeah. Loved doing that. And I was recently reflecting on the rehearsal process for everybody. It was funny because I don't think anybody rehearsed less than I did. I had a bit of an edge because I wrote the character, so I knew it was up with her. But I wish we should go back. Yeah, I would hope so. I wish we could go back and do season 2. That was originally the plan. We had so many ideas for the characters for next season, and we were all so stoked. And at some point, we just had to focus on the post-production and getting that season 2 out there, getting the screenings. Like, we can make as much content as we want, but promoting it is more than half the battle in many respects. Not so much a battle, more a victory tour and a parade. So we had to focus on that. And then, of course, COVID hit. So I guess it was for the best that we reconcentrated our energy at the start of 2020. But yeah, still hoping for that Keanu cameo.
One thing that I found that was interesting, the ending to Last Ditch, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. It's interesting how that kind of coincided slightly with what was about to go on with the world. Not exactly by any means, but just that feeling was eerily similar.
So this is actually not the first time that's happened. The last, I'm trying to remember, I know it's bad. I don't know exactly what's going on, but the last web series that we did, and it was more about the individual people that we had involved, but a lot of the things that we'd written into the script actually happened to those people, or some of the dynamics actually came true. So not sure what that's about exactly. So I'm trying to write more positively from now on. Not sure if we opened the vortex that created 2020 or not. I don't think so. I don't think we could have done something like that. But it is a little freaky.
Kind of like Adam Sandler's bedtime stories. Every time he tell a story, something would actually happen in real life, true to him.
It is a little bit like that, and I'm not going to lie. It's a little bit like that situation.
Conspiracy theory. Did Last Ditch cause COVID-19. No, by no means did it. By no means did it.
I better quit now before I do anything worse.
But it was still a fantastic show to be working on. It was a great process to be a part of. I loved the whole experience. I was so thrilled that you asked me to be one of the actors on that, despite being in the tank top the entire time. I'm
glad you brought that up, because I feel a little bad about that. On the one hand, I don't feel bad because I know that that's the character. And you just embodied that and personified that to my wildest dreams and beyond. And I was so happy. On the other hand, you, the actor, I feel a little bad. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it occurs to me and I remember, oh, wow, I did that to Conor. And then I feel a little bad. But then it's just erased by your incredible acting job. And then I'm fine.
Well,
but
thank you.
Every now and then there's a splash of regret in my life.
I joke around saying it was like, I understand. I was to be the eye candy. I get it. This is why I'm here. No.
Somebody's got to be the eye candy, Conor. It might as well be you.
I just wish
Somebody take that bullet.
I just wish I was a little more toned for the role, but it's okay. Oh gosh, if we were to do it now, I'd look even worse. So to be honest, you caught me at a good time.
No, don't feel not toned.
No, I gotta
be the sweet toned eye candy. It happens to every good actor.
But it was still a really fun time. I was really happy to be a part of it, and the way that you directed it, the way that you got everybody through it was very professional. You handled it so well. I know at times you probably were freaking out inside. But you kept it together. You had a lot of composure, and you really were a selfless team leader getting that all together. And you really did a lot for that.
That's what it's about. Everybody else. For me, I just want to work with other artists. It's primarily where it all comes from. It's like, you guys are all really cool. I just want to hang around you. Allow me to micromanage the next 4 months of your life so that we can all make art together. Yay.
Hey, I was all for it, and I'm all for future projects for sure. So, Joyce, I wanted to talk about what got you into filmmaking, what got you into content creating and all that.
For sure. It's all about that artist's life, that artist's way. Just want to make cool stuff with people. And of course, I've kind of experimented with a lot of different forms of art across my life. And originally, I was music when I first picked St. Rose. And I knew that whatever it was I was going to be doing, I wanted it to originate from me and come from me. I of course want to work with other artists on their stuff, whatever it is. But I knew that what was really meaningful to me was to produce my own art. And you guys, you songwriters, I can't boil down what I need to say in like little lines that often rhyme. I can't do that. So I was like, okay, I can't write songs. So like, what am I going to do? Just sing other people's? I knew that wasn't going to be meaningful enough for me. So what kind of it helps me, at least with film, is because it's all visual. You don't want to be relying on those pesky little things called words. And it's helpful for me because I can write 300 pages of words in a day, but that doesn't necessarily make me feel like I've put something out there. I've done something. I've created something meaningful. So visual work. I love photography, of course. And I get a little hurt in the soul when people say that photography is harder than videography. Because with photography, the frame has to be perfect. But if you're not translating that every frame has to be perfect mentality to videography, you're not doing your videography right. So I love videography. It's the hardest, greatest extension of myself because it forces me to take all the words that I can write that don't really make any sense, that can't be boiled down into specific lines, into poetry, and figure out, what does this actually mean? How does this actually translate? What does this do in the world for other people? It's the most challenging way for me to tell stories and get art out there and get myself out there. And it forces me to push myself farther than I thought I could go. Like, teenage me would never have guessed that I would have had been able to hold a camera pretty much. So anything that I do, I'm like, whoa, I'm holding a camera. This is awesome. I'm coiling cables. Yes. Always surprised that I'm able to coil a cable. So it's always new. It's always fun. It's always exciting. And it's always the furthest, greatest extension of myself. And the one thing that I know I can improve on for the rest of my life. I'm never going to be satisfied. Like, oh, this is perfect. My aesthetic is now perfect. All of my work looks exactly how I want it to look. No more room for growth. No, there's going to be a lifelong growth from this. And there's nothing else that I'll get that from. Like, I'm not going to write a novel and have the same level of growth and the same interest in or pride in whatever art it is that I've been able to collaborate with people to do as I would like a 15-second clip of any. So it's the greatest extension of myself.
That's really cool. And I love the enthusiasm that you bring to the table with it. And you know what the common saying, what a picture tells 1,000 words. Mm-hmm. So that's one picture. But then when you put it to film, that's how many technically a bunch of pictures all put together, and all the different things that you could be telling within one story, with all the imagery, with all the symbolism, with all the heart and soul that you put into it. There's a lot of things that can be taken out of it, which I think is amazing. And I'm glad that you're getting out of that. That's really, really neat. So 2020, as we said, was a hell of a year. It's been a hell of a year. And I've had other guests on talk about their experience in music and film, about how, you know, it's impeded things, but it's not so much it's stopped things. It's just kind of made us look at things in a brand new way. And you are no exception of that. When COVID hit, you're like, all right, let's take this quote unquote transition time and let's work on this. And you got a number of cool projects that you've been trying to work on. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. 2020 aged me 15 to 20 years.
I feel that. I feel that.
Literally this time last year to February, I was planning my move to Manhattan. I was going to Manhattan. I was going to get on sets, coiling cables, making coffee runs, doing absolutely anything anyone would let me do. That was the only thing I could possibly have been interested in. Now, of course, I live 2,000 miles away. Every city is like pretty much on lockdown. Everybody's on skeleton crews. 20 to 30-year industry veterans are laid off. I just graduated. Like, me getting the jobs that I thought I was going to be getting just a few short months ago, like, that's the cold, stark reality is that that's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And that's like the most difficult thing that I've been through after, you know, all these years of hustling, getting ready for that. That's just gone. Like, it won't be off the table forever, obviously, but the more difficult that is to cope with, the more I've been realizing that really is a blessing in disguise for me. Because there's a way now, and it had already begun before COVID. And this is a quote, like, I didn't say this, but this generation works smart, not hard. So before, when you could put in 15, 16-hour days doing whatever it was and succeed, people don't do that so much anymore. People are working smart. Everybody's an entrepreneur now. Everybody's carving out their own path, making their own stuff, deciding how they're going to survive, deciding how they're going to put their art out there, how they're going to make money, how they're going to not, starve, how they're going to live. So the things that happened to me this year forced me to realize that, forced me to know that there's nothing out there that I can go to. And my career as a filmmaker and as an actress and as a storyteller is just going to be all set. I go book that gig, I go get that job, and then it'll all just work out from there. That doesn't exist. The only thing that exists for you to start your career, whatever it is that you're doing, if you're in the creative field, you have to go get it. You have to make that yourself. You have to build that up yourself. And that's always something that's been very daunting to me. Like, me, I'm going to do that? I don't know what I'm doing. I can't do something like that. Are you serious? I need you to tell me. I need to be told. I need to be schooled. I can't do something like that. But we all can. We all absolutely can. So it's forced me to be even stronger and have an even greater conviction of what I want my life to look like and what I want to be doing. And it's forced me not to go out there and find what's waiting for me, but to realize that it comes from me and I have to build that from the ground up. And even just the last few months, I think I finally, hopefully, fingers crossed, learned the last lesson of that when I got out of my desk job due to some very interesting COVID exposure concerns at the job that I was at. I worked a desk job for 3 months and it was okay. I liked the people that I worked with, but it certainly wasn't anything like what I wanted to be doing, not anything related to anything at all, really. So getting out of that and realizing that there's no biding time until, if the vaccines roll out, till COVID is gone, till things reopen. There's no biding time until that. And there's no going out there and starting your career. There's starting your career now. There's being an entrepreneur now. There's forcing yourself to do these things now. Because if you don't do them now, when are you going to do them? There's almost no better time to build up from scratch than now. So was it a 15 to 20 year aging? Yes. But ultimately, was it for me personally, especially since I'm healthy, my family is healthy, we're all doing good, can't ask for anything better than that. In that respect, there's never been a better time to start now and realize that it can come from you whenever you say. And it doesn't matter what's going on. And if you can adapt, if you can give yourself in any situation, it can start whenever you want. And there's no magic time. There's no magic place. There's no perfect thing to get you started. It can just be now. So ultimately a good thing.
As Joyce said, she originally wanted to start out with music, and then she went into film and new media. But now she's bringing those two worlds together, and she's working really hard at working on music videos in particular during COVID-19. I'll let her talk about that a little bit.
So because there are so many talented musicians who I have fortunately been able to encounter, not speaking to them right now or anything, that kind of created desire to work with people who can do that music thing and that audio thing so well, because I love good music. I am the music consumer and music listener that everybody hates. I find one song, I will listen to that song on repeat for 2 weeks and I will listen to no other song. So everybody hates the way I listen to music. But I love good music and I love matching visuals with music. And that's always something that I've loved. Like the 13-year-old listening to whatever music was out at that time, pretending they were in a music video, that was me. Love coming up with the narratives that match the audio. And there's so many people I know who are so good at creating that great music and that great audio. And I love the visuals. So I want to marry that together and really try to focus on that going forward. Who doesn't love a good music video? Who doesn't love a good montage? To go on a recent tirade of something that kind of pushed me over the edge recently, the Blinding Lights music video. I don't know if you're familiar with that at all.
Oh, yeah, no, I've seen it plenty of times.
Yeah, I think, I don't know how many times I've watched it at this point, but that's a perfect music video. I don't recommend that anybody do this, but I actually found that director. I found his website and I emailed him. This was months ago. But it's 2020, do whatever you want, live your best life. If you want to do something like that, go ahead and do that. If you want to tweet like Ryan Gosling directly, go ahead and do that. Live your best life. It's 2020, nobody cares. But I love that music video. I love that direction. That whole album actually has some of the ones that came out recently, I don't have the stomach for, but a lot of them have a very similar aesthetic and I absolutely love that. And I'm like, that's exactly what I want my stuff to look like. That's exactly the kind of stuff that I've envisioned one day being able to put together. And I love that. And in line with just start now, I want to just start doing that now. And I want to promote my desire and ability to bring your music to life with visuals now. Will I have a fancy car in the Blinding Lights music video? No. I have a Nissan Rogue. It's pretty cool. We can use that. But
there you go. So, and one thing that you're promoting specifically with this that I find is definitely a very interesting way of looking about things is that you're willing and able to do a lot of things remotely, and you have a lot of ideas on how to do that, because it's tough. You know, you can't have the same sets and the same amount of actors and the same amount of, you know, anything that you had before going into anything like this. But you had some really unique and creative ideas on how to still bridge that gap.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, my performance is definitely part of the package. There's a lot of really talented actors in my area that I network with. Due to COVID, though, it's a lot easier to have, you know, smaller casts and things like that. But pretty much anything, because it's a rich environment that I'm in, pretty much anything that the musician wanted could be arranged based on the area that I'm in, with safety and, of course, CDC guidelines at the forefront of my planning. So that can be arranged. I live in also a city on the beach. So any aesthetic that any musician or band might want to have, I have like 5-minute radius access to all of that. If you want it to look like a cold, dirty city, we can have a cold, dirty city. If you want it to look like the tropics, we can go shoot by some palm trees. I have those right outside my home. If you want sunset, sunrise at the beach, I have that. If you want a pier shot, I have a pier 10 minutes up the road. I have wilderness, parks, whatever it is that the desired environment is for the video, I have access to all of that. So I have access to a wealth of actors that I might want. I'll usually do it if it's an individual project, so you don't even have to worry about safety concerns or anything like that. And then I have any location, and of course all of the lighting and professional equipment that you can ask for. I'm not shooting on my iPhone or anything, so pretty much anything that could be needed, I have access to, and that's another reason why I wanted to take advantage of my ability to start doing music videos now, so I can work with the musician or the band on their aesthetic, their style, their ideas, whatever it is. Maybe they already have some footage of a performance and they just want a couple of shots of a little narrative story to intersplice. I can do that. If they want the whole thing to be a little short film, my favorite type of music video is when it's a little short film, I can do the whole thing, start to finish. And I can do it with any environment, any setting, anything that you might need or want because of the area that I'm fortunate enough to live in right now.
Now, Joyce is by far not limited to just working on music videos and has experience working on a whole lot of different things, especially in freelancing right now. So I wanted to give her the opportunity to talk about her other freelancing opportunities and where some of you guys might be able to check her out.
Yeah, absolutely. I am a freelancer, so anybody could reach out to me on any one of my platforms. Of course, I'm on Facebook, Instagram. My TikTok channel is where I'm beginning to concentrate a lot of my energy. TikTok is a beautiful, marvelous adventure land. Changed my mind. So I love TikTok, obsessed with that. Find me on TikTok. What's my handle? Seniorina Joyce is all of my social media handles. But I also, of course, can be hired through, or if anybody wanted to look at some of the work I've done, I have my portfolio is available on, of course, all my social media as well. So basically just find me on social media and you'll have all my links. And then to Fiverr as well, where I have a lot of gigs running. I'll also remotely record commercials. I'll write commercials. My biggest gig on Fiverr right now is I run TikTok channels for businesses, influencers, musicians, whoever it is, assist with creating content, nailing down the trends that are really popular on the app that will boost the content. So there's a lot of tricks with that can help a person go viral. If that is your ambition, to go viral on TikTok, there's a lot of different ways of doing that. So that's one thing that I do through Fiverr as well, as I run TikTok channels. Love doing that. Love TikTok. Saddest, darkest days of my life were when it could have potentially been banned. So business actually got really, really slow around that point. Side note, but we're out of the woods now. So it's a good thing.
As you said, with managing TikToks and other social media, That's a really good topic that you brought up that I'd like to talk about for a little bit. Managing social media and things along those lines. You have a lot of creative people out there that are focused on putting out their content, and they're constantly working on that. Songwriters, they're writing songs, or filmmakers, they're making that stuff. But the promotional side is so huge. And and when it comes to understanding social media, obviously there's much more to promotion than just your basic social media, but how you run your social media pages, it can be a key way of how you gain fans, retain fans, and things along those lines. So can you talk about what you do as a social media manager and the things that people should really be looking out for when promoting their things?
So what I primarily do, I've worked with people who say have an online store and they don't have any content that they have to share. They don't have any videos. They don't have any pictures. That's fine. I can build that content from scratch. I had one. It was my favorite one because I was just in a goofy mood and I was like, I'm going to go with it. But I had one. They were an online home decor shop. They had really cool stuff. I actually wound up putting a lot of my salary back into the store because they had a lot of really cool stuff. So basically all I did was I screen recorded my phone and recorded voiceovers of me talking to myself while looking at all the products. So it was really goofy, and I'd never done anything like that before. Anything that simple, first of all, but also anything that goofy. So like they had a lot of funny things. They had a lamp that was just a giant mushroom with a light bulb in it. And I was like, that's really cool. So I was looking at that and like doing girlish screaming over that and all kinds of things that I wouldn't normally do. And sent that to them. I was like, they're not going to like this, but they've actually ordered with me several subsequent times and love the videos. And I have a great partnership with them now. So you got to kind of go with the flow a little bit. TikTok is not about traditional ad style videos. And I've done traditional ad style videos for a couple of like non-for-profits and things just because I work remotely. And there's only so much I can really do to record or get access to their content. But they never do well. Like nobody wants to see an ad on TikTok. They want to see something that's real and authentic and engaging on a personal level. So again, when you work remotely, there's only so much you can do sometimes, but whatever you can do to be as authentic and genuine as possible, extremely helpful. To actually use the algorithm is a totally different story. It's all about the hashtags. It's all about how much of the in-app add-ons you can use. So if you can use a TikTok effect like built into the app on the video, that's going to help you. If you use the right hashtags, trending audio, that's going to help you. So on the one side, it's how do I make original content? And then on the other side, it's how do I not go up against, but go with the algorithm? How do I make sure the algorithm picks me up? So it's a lot of considerations, but mostly you just want to be genuine. If you're in a weird mood and you just want to do something really weird with someone's order, odds are they're going to actually like it and it's going to work out pretty well for you. So if you feel like straying from the conventional, that's perfect and you should be on TikTok. So
that's really neat. I think that's a good way to be looking at it. So you've been able to help manage a couple of these companies and non-for-profits, not the exact thing of, working on the TV show like Last Ditch or music videos, but I'm assuming there's got to be some love for it there because that's a whole other side of being creative, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it's very different because all content is like 80% promotion, especially at this point in a media saturated environment. Everywhere you look, it's just constant media saturation. So whatever you're making is like 80% promotion is the biggest deal. You can make the greatest thing on the planet. If you're not promoting it, no one's going to see it. No one's going to know that you made the greatest thing on the planet. And it is very hard to get people to notice things that have been made to grab people's attention, to get the algorithm to pick you up, whatever it is. It's very difficult and not something I ever envisioned myself doing, because I like to actually make this stuff and then be like, you deal with it. You promote it. I don't want to do this. But there's a separate crucial knowledge that you get from learning how to do that. Because not only do you learn how to get somebody to watch your stuff, but you learn what that somebody wants to see from you. What can you do that they would enjoy? What can you be doing better when you make your art? So it's taught me stuff that I tried my hardest to avoid learning, but learning it was quite beneficial, and it only makes what you do better if you learn how to promote not only what you're doing, but what somebody else is doing.
Yeah, it really kind of brings things together. It's almost like a testing grounds. It's a testing grounds of the right ways of how to do something. And also it's a testing ground for creativity too. It's, you can kind of, let's see if this works. And if it works for them, you throw it into your own thing and whatnot. So, that's cool that it wasn't necessarily exactly the same thing that you thought you would be doing a lot of. But I'm glad to see that it's working out so well and it's becoming a learning ground for you to move forward with other projects. Opportunities comes in all shapes and sizes, and you never know what little piece of your past will help influence the next big step in your future. So you never know.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else that you want to tell the Walsh Wednesday listening audience before we wrap this up?
What I would say in closing, if it's it's not something that anybody needs to hear from me. But I think that as just another human, it's important for me to remind other humans to say it as frequently as possible. But Conor Walsh is awesome.
Oh.
And that's what I have to say. Everybody else, join in with me. Conor Walsh is awesome.
You are awesome, Joyce. I really appreciate that. That was very sweet of you to say.
You are awesome, Conor Walsh.
And I'm telling you, Joyce, she's awesome. She's got a lot of great stuff out there. And if you're a creative person that needs somebody to collaborate with and, need some help on your next project, whether it be social media, TikTok, film, music video, whatever, she is your person to go to. So, Joyce, thank you so much for coming on to this episode of Walsh Wednesday. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Conor Walsh, you are awesome. Thank you for having me. Stay classy, everybody.
Stay classy. Much love. Thanks so much, Joyce. I promise you, I did not pay her or tell her to say that last little bit, but it's greatly appreciated. Again, you can check out everything Joyce has to offer in the links in the description. I highly recommend it. And also just remember, during this time period, please consider supporting your friends, supporting those around you that, they're doing something that's really cool. And yeah, they might be starting from the ground up, but just imagine the things that you guys could do together if you had faith in said projects, whatever that might be. So look to your friends, look local, look to the little guy, because this is also the time to really revitalize that. So I hope you consider that moving forward. And again, thank you so much for supporting this program. And this show is just about you guys as it is about me and whoever I can get on. So if there's anything that you guys want or would be really excited about looking forward for this show, let me know. Sounds good. Just hit me up. You can send an email to conorwalshmusic.management@gmail.com or hit me up on any of my socials. Regardless, thank you very much for being around. And if you're just tuning in or you've been with us since the beginning, regardless, I appreciate you and I'm so glad we get to spend some time.